Hello and welcome to the Civil Rights Movement Timeline Research Scavenger Hunt. I'm Molly Padilla and I'll be your guide as we go through this game. So in this first page, you'll see here a little welcome message for our learners explaining that they will need to identify an event that either contributed to or was a part of or a result of the Civil Rights Movement. So they will need to make sure that they provide a brief description, as well as whatever slides or web search they use to identify this. Now, as they scroll down here and we go to the objective and rules, this explains the objective down here, where the whole idea is to find or identify any evidence that contributed to or were part of the Civil Rights Movement, and then from any one of the following time periods: 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, 70s, and 80s. Now we scroll down here to the directions. To complete the scavenger hunt, learners will need to find an event that contributed to or was a part of the Civil Rights Movement. They will need to do some research to find the evidence. They must either find a video, photo, or document that would make up part of their evidence. They will need to include at least one video, one photo, or one document as their evidence and explain how the evidence is tied to that movement and if the source is primary or secondary source. Now, to earn points, the learner must provide a piece of evidence for each time of the time period, as you can see here. They must also explain how the evidence ties to the Civil Rights Movement and explain whether if it's a primary or secondary source and how they can tell. Of course, they need to cite their sources. Primary sources are worth 2 points. Secondary sources are worth 1 point. They need to make sure that they place their evidence and an explanation on a Word doc of their choice. That could also be a Google Doc and submitted according to the appropriate link, which you'll see in just a moment. So, what do the points mean? Well, the more points the learner earns, the higher the overall grade will be on the assignment. However, they must meet the other criteria in order to gain the full points. For example, they need to make sure that they have an explanation for the evidence and how it ties to the Civil Rights Movement, as well as if it's a secondary or primary source and how they can tell. And also cite their sources. Those with the highest points, ranging anywhere from 9 to 10, 10 being the highest that they can receive, they'll be able to receive 5 bonus points. That means 5 extra credit points to their overall score. Just a bit of an incentive. Okay, so let's let the games begin. As they scroll down here in the introduction, again, it repeats the explanation of the objective and the rules so that the student or learner is reminded of what they need to do exactly and how they can earn the points. All right, let's let the scavenger hunt begin. Okay, step 1, 1940s. So now the learner must find some sort of evidence that contributed to the Civil Rights Movement for the 1940s. Remember, this could be a photo, a video, or a document. So I just happen to find a source already, do a little bit of research. My first one's a primary source. So already my information is placed here with my email. It's on a Google Doc. It makes it easy for the learner to go ahead and put that information in by uploading their photo. I'll go ahead and select from my drive. Of course, it doesn't pop up right away. And this is why. There we go. And this learner simply select their document, and there it's uploaded. And then they can click back to the game and continue their search on. And they'll go to step 2, the 1950s, and then select one. They go over to 1960s, same thing. They would complete a research, look for it, click the appropriate link so they can then add it onto the Google Docs. Once they're done, continue on to the 1970s. And for the final step, 1980s. And for this one, I have a secondary source. I scroll down here. I'll go ahead and put that in there. And select my doc. And then once I'm done, I will hit submit. Of course, not everything on here is uploaded, but once it is, you'll see here that the Google form already has a points added in, and so they can be reminded of how many points they'll earn once they are done. Then this provides a summary. Congratulations, you've completed the scavenger hunt. And then a reminder of what will happen if they earned one of the people who earned the highest points. And then they can play again if they want to, or they can continue on to the last part, which is the end of the hunt reflection discussion. So now that they completed it, it's always best to get some information, like how was the experience of the treasure hunt? Describe your overall experience, what went well, what were some challenges and how they overcame those obstacles. Then they can simply click the embedded link here and upload their reflection and share it with their classmates on the discussion board. And then they also have to reply to another classmate's post on the discussion board. This gives the learner an opportunity to reflect on their hunt as well. Once students have completed everything, they will later receive an email or an email notification with their points that they received from the Google form. And there you have it. The Civil Rights Movement Timeline Research Scavenger Hunt. Thank you so much.